Well, hello again, everybody. It's time for the Inside Blitz. Running a little bit late today. We had some audio issues, but we are here to start Wildcard Weekend. And Ron and Chris may be able to join us shortly. That's a TBD, but for sure, Vinny Bonsignore is here, also from Las Vegas. Vinny, great to have you back. And a lot of craziness going on with the Raiders right now, huh?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Another coaching search. We were all kind of bracing for it. I think everybody understood that that's the direction that was going to go in.
Yeah.
One and done for Pete Carroll. It just never felt right once shortly into the season, if not training camp, and the timelines weren't lined up, and it was an experiment that just didn't work. And now the Raiders are back at the drawing board.
Yeah, it's too bad. I like Pete. I dealt with him a lot when he was at USC, and I'm assuming you did too when you were in LA, right?
Yeah, I did, and he didn't forget how to coach.
Of course.
Where the Raiders are in terms of the rebuild that's needed, they're getting ready to draft a young quarterback with the top pick overall. They need somebody that represents and some longevity, because you can't build this runway for this young quarterback and just as you're ready to take off, which they may be in 2 or 3 years, the coach is out the door. The coach is turning 78 years old. They needed to do something a little bit different. It's nothing against Pete Carroll necessarily. They just need to find a coach that lines up with where they are right now.
Yeah, and he did sign a 3-year deal. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I'm not worried for him financially in any possible direction.
No, not at all. That has nothing, that's not a consideration. I hope that in time, this won't tarnish anything. It shouldn't. I told him this, a few times. There were so many bad decisions that have been made over the years that really led to this point, way and above and beyond, whatever role he had in it. Yeah, he was picking up it was a tough job, and I don't know that he understood how tough that was going to be and what was really required.
And a lot of that, wondering over the last 2 years, how much Tom Brady's decision-making has been involved in this. There's been so much dysfunction in this organization for way too many years, and Brady was supposed to stabilize some of that. Your thoughts on how any of that has come to play?
Yeah, I think, it was unrealistic for anybody to think that Tom Brady was just going to master this thing in year one. He just started. And I think what ultimately happened this year and why this could, in a roundabout way, be a real positive for the Raiders was that I think Tom Brady learned a lot of lessons this year in his first year. And this was, not so much an awakening, but an eye-opener for him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good thing. It's a positive when you realize, okay, this is really where we are. It's not a Geno Smith away or a couple of Tyler Lockett away. This is going to be a few years. And I think understanding that, which a lot of us that have covered this team knew that. So when Pete was talking about winning 10 games and that, ideally or is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. Yeah. What's needed here is figuring out a long range quarterback situation and rebuilding a roster. There are some good young pieces in place, but this is a roster that needs a lot of work. And what I think that they learned that lesson, and it's very clear hearing John Spytek talking about how not looking for somebody that in the new head coach that feels like they got to win 10 games the first year. It would be great if that happened, but that's unrealistic. This is all about 2027 and beyond. Not to say that 2026 is a punt year or a waste year. What it is it's going to be a rebuilding year, and maybe you win 6 or 7 games and show progress with the hope of taking a much bigger step in 2027.
Tell everybody what you do as far as being a beat guy with the Raiders situation, and have you had a chance to talk to Mark Davis or Brady about any of this?
Yeah, definitely. And I cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and I'm a co-host of the morning tailgate show on Raider Nation Radio, the official broadcast partner here in Las Vegas. And yes, without a doubt, I've talked to Mark Davis and very briefly with Tom Brady.
Okay, he didn't give you really 2 hours, huh?
It was really interesting. I thought the statement that Mark Davis put out. about the firing of Pete Carroll, and he made it very clear in that statement what the hierarchy is going to be, and that's going to be John Spytek, the general manager, running in the football operations office in close collaboration with Tom Brady. And that was really the first time the Raiders as an organization have kind of acknowledged what everyone here knows and understands, and that's the input and influence and really job of Tom Brady and what he means to this organization. And I think the Raiders have been very cognizant and calculated in how they've explained that. They've been very respectful of Tom Brady's assignment with Fox, not trying to step on any toes there. Right. But I think it was long overdue that they truly acknowledged, hey, Tom Brady's basically in charge here with John Spytek as his right-hand man. And I think that the new head coach is going to understand that, and it's going to be Tom Brady / John Spytek, and then the head coach. I think there were too many times last year where not too many times, where last year they tried to kind of shoehorn Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, and then John Spytek, hierarchy, and that just didn't work, because it can work if everybody's working out of the same playbook, but I don't think that they were. And so what they need to do now is go find a head coach that's going to be okay with that hierarchy. There's plenty of situations in the league where there is that type of chain of command, and somebody that's going to now fit into what the vision of this organization is and share it and execute it and be about it. Not just talk about it, but be about it. And I think that's the next challenge for the Raiders. And I think if they can do that, they're going to put themselves in a position where now they can really move forward in a way that makes winning and makes success a lot more plausible down the road.
Okay, we're going to be very Vegas-centric right here, because joining us is LasVegasCris. Hello,
hey,
what's
guys.
up, Chris?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, and we have Las Vegas Vin with us, who's the beat reporter for the Raiders, and so we're on top of the Vegas stuff. We got breaking news all over the place today in the National Football League. We'll get to that in a minute, but I know Chris and I have more important stuff to talk about. Chris, as far as breaking news today, you're very, very well aware of this guy. Happy birthday, Robbie Krieger of the Doors. It's his 80th birthday, boys. And that's my buddy, my golf buddy there. Light my fire. What can I tell you?
There you go.
That's awesome. Chris, what's going on with you today? You crazy man in the morning, huh?
Well, I was listening to the Raiders discussion, and I'm originally from Detroit, and I haven't embraced the Raiders, even though I think it's a great. It was the perfect move and the perfect team to move here. I don't know how much of a hold they've taken on with the city so far, because they haven't performed that well. But that Pete Carroll hire was never good from the onset. I think they made the perfect move, and I think they're positioned beautifully going forward with this number one pick and a new coach. Carroll was only going to stick around so long. They wanted to see if he could energize the team, and it looked like they had signs of life that he could build off of and at least get some, something rolling. But I think this was the best result for them to really build from the bottom, and I think it won't be all that long of a buildup.
What do you think, Vin?
Yeah, and when you go back to the Pete Carroll hire, if you remember, the first choice was Ben Johnson, and
right.
a little tidbit about that. When the Raiders created their opening by firing Antonio Pierce last year, it's normal then what the next step is that you start putting permission slips in to request interviews with coaches, right? And that are currently employed by NFL teams. And Ben Johnson's agent reached out to the Raiders and said, "Hey, look, nothing personal, but there's other situations that
but
Ben,
no thanks,
but that Ben looked at more favorably, specifically because of the quarterback situation,
of course.
So to avoid any kind of embarrassing turning it down type of a thing, just don't put the permission slip in for him. And that's not unusual for that to happen. And it's thanks for the heads up. And the Raiders were okay, no worries, understood. And so they started moving in another direction. Then Tom Brady called the agent and was like, "Look, I know what you said. but give me a chance to talk to Ben Johnson. Let me sit down and talk to him. At least let us be able to articulate our vision, with Ben. And so then the next thing is somebody's marching into somebody's office with the Raiders to say, put a permission slip in for Ben Johnson. And the person that was in charge of the permission slip, so we're like, no, he told us not to, so let's not do that.
Right.
Just put the permission slip in. Go ahead and do it. So he's like, okay, and does it. And then the next thing Ben Johnson is interviewing with the Raiders, and it actually went pretty well. Okay. But at the end of the day, and it went pretty far, but at the end of the day, Ben Johnson ultimately sized up the Raiders quarterback situation and the Chicago Bears quarterback situation. And it was a no-brainer at that point for him to go to Chicago with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, if you're Johnson, he might have also said to Brady, hey, Tom, unless you're coming back and you're several years younger, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, exactly. But I say all that to say this. This is a far different situation this year compared to last year. This year, Ben Johnson would have been much more, with the number one pick overall, Ben Johnson would have been much more interested in not only talking to the Raiders, but actually maybe even working with the Raiders, as was Liam Cohen, another coach who was, looking to hitch himself up. Look, you only get one chance sometimes. So generally speaking, you're going to go to this situation that either has a quarterback in place or is in line to bring in a quarterback. The Raiders weren't last year. They are this year, which is why you're seeing a guy like Mike Stefanski, Coach Stefanski.
Yeah, from Kevin.
Or Kevin Stefanski from the Cleveland Browns. He's interviewing tonight with the Raiders. I don't know that he would have interviewed if the quarterback situation was as murky as it was last year. But now he sees a situation where, that would be interesting to work with Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza. Those are two players that I could see myself working with. So to your point, this is they are aligned much better now than they were in the past, and that's including Tom Brady, who learned a lot of lessons, through a really trying year, and I have to believe is wired to make sure that is wired in a way that allows him to learn from those lessons and apply those lessons moving forward.
Yeah. Didn't they know that they were kind of in trouble during preseason? Smith was kind of a little bit off kilter, and O'Donnell was looking, pretty hopeful. And then he got injured, and he never came back.
No. Actually, O'Connell was terrible. That was one of the stories of training camp. I was like, what's going on? Not that to me, Aiden is a backup quarterback at best in the NFL.
Exactly.
But he's had pretty decent training camps, but he was not good at all in this training camp. And Gino, but I think all of us that were covering the team, we kind of chalked it up. All right, he's learning a new offense. It's Chip Kelly. The offensive line, even at that point, wasn't very good. So I think there were some allowances for Gino, and a lot of us that cover the team were like, look, there's no way he's going to fall off the face of the earth. He was a pretty good quarterback in Seattle. If he's just the quarterback that was in Seattle here in Las Vegas, this is going to really raise the floor at the very least of the Raiders, but he never did.
Yeah. And we lost Vinny.
Uh-oh.
Well, take a hint. Vinny, we lost you for a second. There you are. You're back. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I was, I'm still working, so I'm on my phone. Unfortunately, there might be some calls here.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. But nobody saw Gino falling off the cliff that he fell off.
Right. So today we also have this news that Miami's looking for a new head coach, and I guess John Harbaugh might be in line to go over there. Have you heard anything, Vin?
Yeah, that seems to be the most the most open secret in the NFL. Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, big time, obviously a University of Michigan alum. Not that John went to Michigan, but they have Michigan ties, and they have ties. The Ross family has ties to the Harbaugh family. So I think once John Harbaugh became available, the Dolphins looked at their situation and said, we like you, Mike McDaniel, but we may have a bigger fish to fry. And so yeah, I could definitely see something like that happening.
And Chris, I know you're very depressed because Harbaugh usually gives you a lot of really good plays. So now you're going to have to do that in Miami, huh?
I'm just kind of surprised at how the mainstream media thinks so highly of Harbaugh as if he's, super elite. For the last several years, we've continually,
well, he is super elite for the first 3 quarters of the game, usually.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, how many double-digit second half leads were blown, and other just in-game poor decision making, cost them significantly throughout the last couple of years. He did some wonderful things, and with the team and stuff, but he seemed to hit a ceiling at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think from NFL owner standpoints, they want as much certainty as they possibly can. And when you're talking about a John Harbaugh, you're getting certainty. There's no man. I wonder if he's going to be able to be a good head coach. Yeah, he's already shown that. He coached in the same place for 18 years, had 12 winning seasons, went to the Super Bowl, went to the playoffs 11 times, maybe even more. That's a track record. And for whatever we want to say about Clint Kubiak or any of these offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators that have never been a head coach, you always are going to have to make a leap of faith that they're going to be able to translate from being a coordinator to being a head coach. And we've seen time and time again, there's no guarantee that that's going to actually happen. So I think I would say less of elite and more of there's a certainty there. And it's tough to. I think everyone in the league understands that how hard it is to thread that needle to be one of 32. It is extremely hard. Just look at how many teams have won the Super Bowl the last few years and how many haven't really. It's been a very exclusive group. And if we're talking about just the last, 6-7 years, it's what the Chiefs, the Rams won one. Who am I missing? The Eagles.
Yeah.
Are there any more? I mean, am I missing anybody that's actually won the Super Bowl? He's actually been a coach that's won the Super Bowl, so it's tough to do. And just there are owners out there. Hey, you get me to the playoffs, and I'll take my chances there. But you definitely get to the playoffs, and that's the first hurdle to climb or to clear when you're talking about trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how Harbaugh will fit in Miami, though, because of the quarterback situation, this stage of his career, he needs a really good offensive coordinator. And is the offensive coordinator going to be good enough with whoever their quarterback's going to be? I think that looks to me like a transition that's not very clean.
Not for him, yeah. I would be more interested if I was him in the New York Giants right now.
It's all in perspective. It made me shudder this morning to see Antonio Pierce being interviewed for a job. And if you're interviewing guys like that for your team, then that makes your point about how hard it is just to find somebody that is semi-competent to run your team.
Well,
right.
And
of course,
I think
Pierce also has. I was going to say Pierce also has that connection where he played for the Giants, obviously won a Super Bowl there. But separate from that, I get it.
And also, if I'm Antonio Pierce, I want to get in front of the decision makers, because I'm also probably more realistically looking at being the linebackers coach or a defensive coordinator or something along those lines.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. So, and then you've got a ton of guys scheduled to be also interviewing for the Giants job in the next couple of days, and how that's going to go. That's that'll change maybe the entire scenery of who's going to go where.
Without a doubt, and I think if the Raiders talking to Stefanski tonight, I would think that if he's their number one, if he ends up becoming their number one choice, and there's a lot to like about him, then they probably hope that that Harbaugh goes to the Giants to eliminate them as a possibility. And then if I'm the Raiders, I'm thinking about, do the Baltimore Ravens like Stefanski, right? And why wouldn't Stefanski like Baltimore too? So, but I think the key for if Harbaugh went to the Giants, the key for a Stefanski Raiders match is, what does Kevin Stefanski think about Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore?
Right. And this list here, by the way, is a bunch of the guys who were potentially on the firing line, or obviously some of them are already long gone. Any other thoughts on who might end up in Vegas that is the best fit that you think, Vinny?
Yeah, I mean, they're really just getting started on the process.
But your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like Stefanski. I'm intrigued by Davis Webb.
Okay.
If you pull a page out of the Al Davis playbook and say, look, he might not be ready to go right now, but we see greatness in him, much like he saw greatness in John Madden as a 32-year-old linebackers coach, or John Gruden as a 34-year-old offensive coordinator, and said, look, I'm going to look past the experience sometimes, and see through that to the greatness that I see, and grow with you and understand that there's going to be a learning curve. So he's intriguing to me. I think that Matt Nagy from the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he did a better job than people think in Chicago. They won a playoff game with Mitchell Trubisky as their quarterback, and he inherited Mitchell Trubisky. So he's somebody that I think there might be some interest in him. I'm still kind of doing my homework on Clint Kubiak, so I'm not quite sure about him. Although hard to ignore what he's done in Seattle and what he's did with Sam Darnold in this first year with the Seahawks.
Yeah,
Mike McDaniel might be somebody that I would be interested in. He kind of would fit, with the swagger and the persona and the demeanor here in Las Vegas, and they definitely could use somebody that's going to groom a young quarterback. So that would be somebody that I'd be interested in as well.
Yeah, he's interviewing with the Lions for offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think the Raiders' job is the best job available.
Really? Why is that?
I just think because the city itself, you've got no state income tax for your salary, number one. You're going to get a franchise quarterback to start with, and it's just a great city for sports. And Miami obviously is probably the next closest, and some may think Miami is the best choice just because of the weather and tradition and stuff. But there's always problems down there. There's some sort of a laziness factor there. So their new facilities here are top notch. You've got Tom Brady. You've got a new stadium. There's a lot of pluses here.
Right. You got 100
stars. I mean, having Crosby on your team, I mean, that's huge.
Assuming he wants to stay.
Yeah. And Ashton Genty. And, you got $110 million in salary cap space. The cash out goes from $280 million this year to they're committed to $130 million next year. So if you do the math, and they spend just as much next year as they did this year, then you got $150 million in and then some in cash. You're rolling in money out here. You're a top 4, top 3 revenue driven team here, revenue raising team in the NFL. That's a long way away from the 32 when they were ranked 32 in that regard in Oakland. So yes, there really is. It's a very attractive job.
Okay, and do you think, Vin, that Mendoza is a lock to be the first pick overall?
I don't. I do think that I don't think I know that there's a lot of intrigue in the building for Dante Moore as well, and so this is they're just getting started on that process, and obviously the new head coach is going to have a major input in that decision making. So no, I don't think that Fernando Mendoza is a lock, and I think either of the two quarterbacks, assuming Dante Moore declares for the draft, have bright futures. I really like both of those players.
What do you think, Chris?
I think he's probably earmarked for the number 1 pick. It's just a matter of if they weren't interested in it, would the Raiders be interested in giving away, trading that pick away and giving some extra picks?
Possibly,
I would be thinking of that seriously, Vin.
I mean, it's going to be under consideration. They're going to go into it open-minded. But my position is, unless you're guaranteeing me, and me being the Raiders, that I'll be able to draft a quarterback in 2027, I literally have the chance to do this right now, and that chance might not come anytime soon. So you have the opportunity right now to decide between 2 really good quarterback prospects. I'd almost be shocked at this point. I would be shocked at this point if they didn't roll with the quarterback, because there's no guarantee that they're ever going to be in this position again.
Yeah, I'm always just concerned about like the O-line and what else they have to protect him, and a kid coming in, and just getting destroyed back there.
Always remember that when the Rams drafted Jared Goff, it was a joke offensively. And
absolutely. Yeah, but you know what? The coaching situation was also a joke. That didn't fit.
It was, but there are also personnel issues, and the very next year you go and sign Andrew Whitworth, you go and bring in Robert Woods and draft Cooper Kupp, and then all of a sudden you bring in Sean McVay. And also recent examples, the Cleveland or the Chicago Bears offensive line last year was horrible. The New England Patriots offensive line last year was horrible, and they drafted their quarterbacks first and then built the offensive lines. And now look at those two teams. So, it's one of those things where the chicken and the egg, the this and the that. I'm getting my quarterback if I have a chance to get my quarterback, and then I'll figure everything else out after that.
Are you a fan? Who's your favorite quarterback going number one? Both of you guys.
I'm not quite there yet, but I'm going to say Fernando Mendoza.
Okay, and do you give him because of the more the experience factor, or?
Yeah. There's going to be a little bit more projection with Dante Moore. However, I feel like everyone, when they hear that, they're going, okay, so it's the difference between Fernando Mendoza and Anthony Richardson. No, not at all. Anthony Richardson was the epitome of a project who couldn't hit the side of a barn in college. This is the premier passer in college football. He just doesn't have as many games as Mendoza. But I don't know. I think that there's a fit here, with the Raiders, and he just feels like and maybe that's the quarterback that Tom Brady would prefer. The style of play maybe fits a little bit more. So, but I'm not there. Like I said, I'm not there yet, and I'm going to be completely open-minded throughout it.
What do you think, Chris? Do you have a favorite?
I don't have a favorite. I think I'm the last person to ask because I thought Andre Ware and Chuck Long were good picks for the Lions.
Okay, so your scouting career is over. Before
the topper was, I thought Ryan Leaf was better than Peyton Manning.
So did I. And then he yelled at me, and it was all over. All right, guys, let's talk about some actual games here as we have Wildcard Weekend upon us. And I want to get a little bit all over the Rams game because I was at the last one and talked to some of the guys. We'll hear from Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams and Jared Verse in a moment. But just your overall thoughts on this being such a strange spread, Chris. More than 10 points on the road to open up a wild card after the other team just beat you a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual. It kind of brings up. It's one of those games that reminds me of when the New Orleans Saints won their division below 500, and they went and played Seattle, and they were double-digit underdogs, and they won outright. I don't know if you remember that. That was about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
The one thing that we know is the Rams aren't going to take them lightly. The scary thing about Carolina is they just win, lose. I believe that they're perfect against the spread after a loss. The only team in the NFL that was able to do that. They play an entirely different game at home. They play with confidence at home. I think the Rams need to come in and try to put them away. I don't think you play games with them. I didn't like the way they weren't able to pull away from Arizona early. You'd think they would have stuck it to Arizona earlier.
Yeah.
So they better start off strong. That's what I would expect from the Rams. But I expect them to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to any games yet, Vinny?
Not this round. No.
Okay.
But I'm, and I echo. The Panthers have the Rams' full attention. I think it actually works in the Rams' favor that they lost the last time they went down there.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things when you look at that game. Too many turnovers. Matthew Stafford, I think, threw a pick six and threw a touchdown, and threw an interception in the red zone. Can't have that. Can't have special teams breakdowns. It'll be great for the Rams to get Devontae Adams back. He obviously means a lot to that offense. So You're also, I remember watching that game. I forgot, it might have been an early game. I don't know where I was. I forget, but I happened to be able to watch a good chunk of that game before the Raiders. Oh, that's right. It was an East Coast game. The Raiders were playing at 1 o'clock out here. And it felt like one of those games where, those divisional games where you play or opponents that you play where you rarely play them, sometimes you might go 4 or 5 years without seeing that particular team. Those are always tricky, and you could tell that the Raiders or the Rams were kind of feeling their way a little bit, and then they didn't play very well on top of that. Right. So I think it was more on them than the Panthers winning that game. Yeah. So
and the Rams tend to do this thing where if they get off to a slow start, then they got to come back, and you never know if you have enough at the end. But this is a whole different scenario. And as we see here, the Panthers, the way they got into the playoffs, they're just fortunate there. And how much of that, Chris, do you think comes into play with the line itself, the way they got in?
With the line?
Yeah. I'm just thinking, to be a double-digit home dog in the playoffs and you win your division.
Yeah, but, this line is short. I was watching another podcast, and somebody had the same line on this game that I do. And
what was your line?
Supposed to be, around 16, 15.
Really? Wow. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. Wow.
So it's kind of compressed, in my opinion. There is actually value in the Rams.
Boy, you're not kidding.
Am I going to lay 10 or 10.5 on the road? No, but I love them in 10-point teasers, and I've got them all over the place with that. But
I'm sure you do.
I think the Rams are the value side here.
Yeah. What do you think, Vinny? Not necessarily from a gambling standpoint, but just overall, are the Rams this much a dominant favorite in your mind that really they should just take care of biz?
I do, yeah. I'd be really shocked and really disappointed if the Rams went out there and didn't take care of business decisively. So they're the better team. They've got the better quarterback. They've got I love Dave Canales. Don't get me wrong, but they've got a great coaching staff. They've got two dominant wide receivers and a better defense. They just got to be able to stop the run and not turn the ball over. Now, if they start getting sloppy with the ball, that's gonna change things, especially on the road. So they can't afford special teams mishaps, and they got to win the turnover battle. If they do, they should be a great value pick.
I'm trying to find. Somebody sent me the teams getting 10 or more have gone 1-7.
Wow.
So it
great
doesn't
number.
bode well.
No.
I wish I had more detail on that, but
that's a good one though, right there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear from Matthew Stafford. I got a few questions in with him after the Rams beat Arizona last Sunday.
Matthew, considering where everything was in training camp and the question marks about your health, here you are heading to the playoffs, leading the league in TD passes and yards. Does that surprise you at all? I mean, how does that feel? Because it
feels good. It's a lot of hard work. Some luck involved too. And I got guys up front that are keeping me upright. I'm able to get the ball out to guys that are getting open. So it's a collective effort. But a lot of people that help me throughout the weeks that you guys never see that help me get the game days and play free and play well. So I'm appreciative. I love playing this game. I don't take any of these opportunities to play on a Sunday, for granted. And I think our team is the exact same way. We enjoy getting out there and playing together. Luckily we have some more time to do that.
Did you have any personal goals for yourself coming into this?
Make it to week 1.
Exactly.
exactly.
So we got there and then we just held on for dear life. That's kind of where I was, to be honest with you. There was some touch and go moments, and like I said earlier, so many people that have helped me continue to play throughout the season, got me ready to play for week 1, and people that go unnoticed, and by media and all that kind of stuff, people behind closed doors. So I appreciate that, a lot of those guys, and my family and everybody that supported me throughout the season. So just happy to be where I am right now and moving forward with this team.
Knowing that this is your second favorite part of your life, coming in this room, Can you talk about what the dynamics are of getting Devontae back and how that affects everything for you guys?
Yeah, no, he's a special player. He's been a special player in this league for a long time. He's been an absolute, stud for us, and what a teammate he's been as well. So, even in the games where he has not been playing as of late, his support of the other guys out there, his communication, all that, it's a huge part of, why we're playing where we're playing. So, obviously love to have him in his jersey and in his pads out there running routes and catching balls. So, hopefully we get that done. And if we do, man, what a talent, what a player, a guy that can really affect the game and has done it for a long time and has done it at a high clip for us this year as well.
Matthew Stafford of the Rams. Guys, your thoughts on where we were? We lost Vinny again, so it must be his phone. Remember we talked – there you are. We talked about early in the season and, going into the playoff, the preseason. Is this guy going to even make it through week 5, right? And all of a sudden, he's having a career year. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and modern medicine, and I never read a whole lot into what was going on in training camp. I just felt like that was just total management at that point, and playing the long game with Matthew Stafford. I don't care what he was doing in August. It was all about what's he doing in January and December. And so here we are. And I thought they did a masterful job of managing that and just, giving him as the least amount of work as possible because he doesn't need it. He's a natural. He could get up. Yeah. When Matthew Stafford's healthy, he could wake up. I don't care if he's 50, 60 years old. He's going to be able to fling the ball around. So that was the key, and that's obviously happened. And now, if you're the Rams, you just keep your fingers crossed that he stays healthy for 4 or 5 more games, and you might just end up hoisting a Vince Lombardi Trophy in Northern California.
And let me give you a little inside info on Matthew. We both have the same back doctor. Okay,
there you go.
Robert Watkins did my herniated disc surgery a couple of years ago, and he does everybody. I don't know why he wasted his time doing me. I have no idea because my career is totally done. But I saw him in the locker room the other day, and then I talked to Matthew for a brief moment after this interview on Sunday and asked him, "How is Watkins saving your ass?" And he goes, "You have no idea what that guy has done for me." So I think there's more to it than it wasn't just managing it.
True.
He had some issues early on.
Yeah. How long ago did he have that surgery?
Did I have the surgery?
No. Did Matthew have the surgery?
No, I had the surgery, not him.
Oh, so he's just been managed. I gotcha.
Oh, that was my surgery. No, I had herniated disc surgery with Watkins 3 years ago, and then I found out when Matthew was having back issues, he went to him. Got it.
But he didn't need surgery. Okay, gotcha.
No, he didn't need surgery. No.
Yeah.
No, right. Not at all. No, that's not breaking news.
No. I was just yeah, not at all.
Exactly. So, but hey, Chris, he's your old guy in Detroit. Are you surprised at what he's doing at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, when my preseason expectations were that the Rams were going to struggle this season, I didn't see any way that Stafford would last the entire season based on his previous history. It was a smart move to just sit him out of the preseason. We kind of thought that was an alarming thing, and it was probably a blessing and the right choice. And the fact that at his age that he made it through the season, it's just so impressive. It shows his work ethic, staying in shape. And we loved him in Detroit. We cheered for him, and we wanted him to succeed. You don't see that often. That's what a great guy he is.
No, he's a special guy. Another guy I like a lot is Kyren Williams, the Rams running back. And we got couple of brief moments with him after the win on Sunday against Arizona.
Kind of set that mentality early on in the week when we said, everybody's going to play. We're not going to let up for anybody or anything. And that's just kind of the mentality that we're going to bring into the playoffs, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a ride, but we got to stay connected and we got to stay together.
I asked the guys about, obviously you potentially could have to win 3 games on the road with the confidence level of this team.
Yeah. It don't matter. Anybody, in the playoffs, even during the season, everybody's faceless, everybody's nameless. You just go out there, you got to compete. You got to do your job each and every single time. You got to dominate the man in front of you. So for the next 3 games, wherever many games we get, we got to take it day by day, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and, man, go out there and have fun when it's time to rip it.
Are you feeling anything different in the room right now, though, as far as like, okay, we're ready for the real big one?
We've been ready. I think this whole season we've been ready. This whole season has been a whole bunch of tests and a whole bunch of adversities that we had to overcome, and we've overcame those. And so now, like I said, this is where it all, you're supposed to put all those experiences and all those, disappointments together, and you bring it out for this time, for these next 3 weeks. And so, man, I'm excited for this team because I know the men in this room, I know the men in this locker room, and it's going to be a great one.
One of those disappointments was the Carolina game in Charlotte. So how much are you looking forward to going back there?
If that's who we got to go play first, I'm excited. It could have been Charlotte, it could have been anybody. What's it called? Whatever happened in the regular season, that's done and that's over with, and we're past that. And now we know who we are. We know the type of team we're capable of being, and we just got to be that.
How about the dynamics of getting Devontae back and what that means to the offense?
Oh, it means a whole lot. It's going to open up for Coach McVay and his play calling, but he just allows us to bring back a swag.
Okay, so there's Kyren Williams having a little issue with Vinny again. Hang on a second. Vin, you there? How much longer can we keep you? I know we started a little late.
Yeah, it's coming up, unfortunately.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
All right, no problem. No problem. I'll let you go now. We got Chris. Are you good for another 10, 15 minutes?
Sure.
All right. We'll let you go
Say
now.
hi to Todd for me.
If you got stuff to do, I just appreciate the time, and it's always good to see you. Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Likewise.
All right, man. All the best. That's Vinny Bonsignore from Las Vegas. You're out of here, buddy. He's gone. So we'll stay with Las Vegas, Chris. We started 15 minutes late, Chris, because of audio issues with his computer. So some of that feedback you were hearing, he was on his phone. Let's go to another guy, Jared Verse, the Rams outside linebacker, a really important key to their defensive prowess. And what he had to say after the game on Sunday.
Jared, last week you said you didn't care that you lost 2 in a row, but to have this win, what does it mean to have a win like this going into the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling, puts us in a good position, gives us that good momentum. But honestly, trying to forget about it, honestly, get right to the next game.
I remember last year after the loss in Philadelphia, you were ready to get back to the postseason like you could have last year. How ready are you guys now to get this thing started?
Q came up to me actually earlier this week. He said, I remember what you said after your interview in Philly after the game. He said, you don't want to ever feel like this again. He told me he's going to hold me to it. So I'm going to make sure I hold myself to it, too.
How confident is this group going into the postseason, maybe having to win 3 games on the road to get to the Super Bowl?
It doesn't matter. Whoever we got to see is who we got to see. Carolina, they had a good game against us the first time they were able to win. We get to go back there. We've been wanting them again anyways.
What does it mean to you to get, hopefully, Devontae back and when it really matters? Because that's just a huge difference for the O.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of our offense, especially, the way they attack and everything like that. But, with Devontae, obviously that elevates us a lot. But, without him, Stafford, Kyren, Puka, everybody's able to dominate still. So, we just have to do what we have to do.
And Quentin Lake also will be back also. What does that mean for you guys?
And that's a big part of our defense. It's obviously a leader. It's obviously a captain, but that's a friend more than anything. And see the amount of work that he put just so he can make it back in time. I can't wait to see the fruit of his labor.
I know you guys have bigger goals as a team, but would it matter? Would it mean something to you guys to see Matthew win his first MVP?
Obviously it would mean a lot to us. I mean, like Stafford, I think he's freaking GOAT. See, I said freaking instead of cussing. I think he's the guy. Like, I've never been around a player that can do everything that he can do, reads the defense. Obviously, that's one of the best players to ever live. So obviously, I think, it's an award that he should, be able to get. But, whatever has to happen is how it goes.
How juiced are you to get this thing started, though, the big dance?
I've been waiting for it. I feel like I'm warmed up now, so we can get into it now.
All right, so that's Jared Verse of the Rams, and you could hear the confidence in their voices there, Chris. I mean, this team is raring to go when it matters right now.
Yeah, you'd have to think they tasted the ring a few years ago. They know what it's like to get shut out. They faced their trials and tribulations, and they've got a chance. They've got the talent to get there with the right fortune.
Yeah.
I don't think, the team is a veteran team. They've got the experience. They can do it on the road. They just have to put it together.
Yeah. I want to hear from one more guy, Byron Young, another outside linebacker of the Rams. And he gave us some really good insight on what's going on in his head after Sunday's game.
What does it mean to get a win like this after those 2 tough losses?
It means a lot. It just gives us momentum and stuff like that, and gets us right back on the right track. Now it's bell time. Now it's time to get going. It's serious. Do or die. You just got to keep it going.
You're going to see a lot of film this week of a loss against Carolina. Will that be motivated? What kind of comes to mind thinking about going back?
Really just taking the same approach that, be better at in the run game and, playing the rest. I feel like we did pretty decent, but we just got to get better at that. But definitely going to set the film that, we did last time and, make up for the mistakes.
How extra geeked are you to get into the postseason right now and where you guys are at this stage?
Really geeked. It's, something that we worked so hard for, mission not done yet, but we got to keep going. This is the start of it. We got 4 more to go, so we got to keep going.
Goal is to come back to this place, too. You never know. There's a chance that could happen.
You never know. We prepare for anything, but he's trying to just play great ball.
What was it like to see Higgs back out there?
It was great to see, Higgs back out there. The vet he is. He brings so much energy to the team and just everything he does for that room and for the team. I'm just so happy to see him out there. He's paying off. He was working so hard, to get back on the field, and he's back out there. So love that.
Okay, so that's Byron Young, and let's talk about the fact that how healthy the Rams are right now, Chris. They got Tyler Higbee back. Now you got your 3 tight ends are back in business again. I mean, that's exactly what they wanted at this time of the year. Colby Parkinson, who I also spoke with after the game as well. He's part of that 3-headed monster.
Yeah, and they got I forget the guy's name. The key cog on defense is back too. That hasn't been playing.
Yeah, but they just talked about him on D there. Who are we talking about here again? Yeah, bottom line is that they're healthy overall. Even their O-line is about as healthy as it's been in a while. So, they got a lot going for them coming into this postseason, even though they have to start on the road. If a wild card team pulls off the upset this weekend and they win, they will get one more home game next week. So my season might not be done either going to games. I've had 19 games, could make it 20 this year. But bottom line is they're really healthy going in. And are they second? I mean, do you see Seattle as a strong favorite to come out of the NFC, or is it 1A, 1B with the Rams?
I think it's 1A, 1B. Well, no, I think Seattle is a true favorite. They've got the 2 home games.
Okay.
They've got the week rest.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big edge. So it's unlike the AFC. The AFC seems like a real crapshoot. Ron and I talked about it yesterday, and there's a lot of skepticism on our parts where Denver's going to make it to the Super Bowl as the number 1 seed.
Yeah, me too. I no doubt.
And we've seen in years past, though, that week off doesn't bode well for number 1 seed. So Seattle's got to get that monkey off the back of number 1 seed struggling in their first game. So.
Yeah, their quarterback needs to get the monkey off his back when it comes down to crunch time, too.
Yeah. But no, I think that Seattle's a clear-cut favorite, and then I think you have to look at the Rams and then Philadelphia.
Yeah. Are you concerned at all about Sam Darnold here, or is he just needs one really nice win and then we forget about the past? Because that's happened to a lot of guys.
For some reason, he feels like the bubble boy to me, where he's just insulated and protected by a monster defense and so many other. They've got running weapons, they've got tight ends, receivers. He's got so much support. Right. He's in the perfect situation. So he just has to avoid mistakes, and he can be the Trent Dilfer and get him, to the promised land.
Right. Okay, and what about the other game on Saturday, the Bears and the Packers? I hear Roma Dunze is back for Chicago, so that's great news for them. The weather is going to be, it's going to be cold. What else is new? It's that time of the year. What do you see in this ball game? The Packers rested a lot of their starters in the last week just to be as ready as possible for this baby.
Well, it's these 2 teams had early buys. So Chicago has gone the longest, basically, without a bye. And Green Bay basically had another bye last week. They set their key players. So I think that's a little bit of a disadvantage for Chicago. And Chicago's been living off the turnovers.
Yep.
Is that going to continue? There's a lot of familiarity with these teams. This is the third time they're playing in 5 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So Green Bay's had a lot of success in Chicago, so they're not intimidated about going on the road there. They feel comfortable. That's their home away from home. So
yeah, but that was more in the Aaron Rodgers days than it is now. But we'll see how that comes. But how about the Bears? They've won 6 times when trailing in the last 2 minutes. That's an insane number.
Yeah, it is. And, when the breaks go your way, they go your way. And we saw it with Kansas City. They had 8 or 9 or 10 one-score game wins last year. And then this year, I know they started off 0-5 on those. So we know how fast that those trends can reverse.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the spread in this Bears-Packers game?
The other thing to point out here is that, and I'm just looking for, I don't know why I can't find it, but it's really been difficult on rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs, especially when they're playing a quarterback that has already been to the playoffs. So that's a situation we're in with Caleb, one of 3 quarterbacks in that situation. The numbers certainly favor the Bears. I've heard most people kind of agree with that, but situationally with Green Bay getting healthier, getting a little bit of rest, the Bears living off of turnovers, weak defense, and a first-year or a rookie. Well, he's not a rookie quarterback, but first-time playoff quarterback.
Right.
That's what I meant to say, actually. There's some things against Chicago also. So
yeah. But is this a fair number in as far as what you made your own line?
I think they belong. I think the game belongs like the Bears -1.5. But because of these circumstances I mentioned, Green Bay's a slight favorite. It's not going to surprise me to see the Bears shift over to a favorite.
Or at least a pick 'em kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, the Bears haven't they never got the respect from a lot of people. They played well. It wasn't just the turnovers winning those games. They did a lot of things well, and I did well betting them most of the season.
That's good.
We're just going to have to see what happens. I think the game, everybody kind of agrees it's a tight game. It's a toss-up. It should come down to the end. I think if you're teasing either direction, if you can get over that touchdown, you're in good shape.
Right. Let's look at Sunday, Buffalo at Jacksonville. It looks like there might be a little bit of rain possibly, right, in Florida this weekend?
Yeah, let me double check. Let me look for an update on that.
That's coming into play. I mean, it's certainly a whole different story if you were playing in Buffalo this time of the year. But are the Bills a legitimate favorite here, considering the way Jacksonville is playing?
I think there is no team with more pressure on it coming into these playoffs than Buffalo.
And no head coach, right?
We're going to have to see how they handle it, because I think, Allen's a little dinged up. He got his rest last week. That's going to help him out. But that team is not, as good as previous Buffalo teams, I don't think. And, the fact that they're expected, they're supposedly in the free pass zone with no Mahomes and no Jackson to face. Allen's supposed to pull this off. So the pressure is on his shoulders and on the team. And they're facing a Jacksonville team that I've concluded is the best value to play out of the AFC. Anybody in that AFC could make it to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
I think Pittsburgh would be the most surprising, but how surprising is it when you've got an Aaron Rodgers playing well and he's got the resume to take them there. So realistically, any one of those AFC teams can make it. So it's really tough to see. And Buffalo's got to win 3 in a row on the road. That's going to be a tough hill to climb.
Exactly. And San Francisco.
But I think Jacksonville's going to be ready for him. I think they're, Trevor came into his own finally. The coaching, the team got acclimated to the coaching direction, and they've been the second best team over the last 5 weeks. They're coming in, hot, which is exactly what you want to do. And Buffalo kind of has been kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you always have in the back of your mind, all right, it's Jacksonville. They're probably going to lose or find a way to lose. But it should be a little bit of a different story now where they've evolved into a realistically solid team. How good they are at this level, what the next few weeks are going to be about.
I'm showing the weather 64 degrees, 80% humidity, 20% chance of rain, and 12-mile-an-hour winds. So it's not perfect weather, but it's okay.
But again, compared to what the Bills are used to this time of the year, this will be a cakewalk as far as the weather is concerned.
Exactly.
49ers at Philadelphia. I find this game fascinating because the Niners, to me, and we've talked about this a couple of times on this show, I'm not a big Shanahan fan, but I think he's done the best job he's ever done in his life this year, considering their record, how they've gotten in with so many injuries and key injuries. And yet here they are again. And I don't like them again in this game. I don't see how they can win this game. And if they do, then they'll make me look like an idiot again.
So let me ask you, out of the last 30 games Shanahan has had where they've trailed by 7 or more at the half, how many times has San Francisco won?
Ooh, good question. I have no idea, but I can't wait to hear the answer.
Once.
Wow.
They're 1-29 trailing by 7 or more at the half. That's scary because
that's Harbaugh, John Harbaugh-like.
That's a very interesting stat. I heard that on Colin Cowherd this morning, so I won't.
Wow, and I've never heard that, baby. That's fascinating. All right, well, I suggest he doesn't trail at the half.
I haven't been much of a 49ers supporter most of the season, obviously for various reasons, the injuries, the schedule they faced. But they're just decimated by injuries. They don't have the depth. I mentioned it yesterday. Somebody I know who follows San Fran very closely gives them zero chance. He thinks that they can't win any aspect of the game.
I hear that line is moving too. Is that right?
Yeah, it's up to 5.5.
Okay, it says 4.5
in a couple
here.
of places.
All right, and it might go even higher. I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, here's another interesting thing is the Eagles haven't been able to put away teams in the second half. Last year, Barkley had 1,700 yards in the second half of games. Wow. So they were just able to run out the clock on teams. And this year, he's only at like 600 or something like that in the second half. A huge, huge difference. So
Yep.
And then, we kind of joked about it yesterday. Hurts didn't win a single game this year, I don't believe, when he threw for more than 200 yards.
That's crazy.
San Francisco's going to let him throw for 200 yards. So is that good or bad?
I love it. Great stats there. Yeah, I don't know what to think about Philly, but again, in this particular matchup, moving forward, I'll deal with that. But in this matchup, I just don't see how the Eagles can lose this game.
I think Barkley's looked better the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
I think they've done a pretty good job getting him ready for the stretch run anyway.
Yeah. So they seem to be coming together better. They got some injuries taken care of, getting some key personnel back. I'm going to be on the San Francisco side, so that just about guarantees Barkley breaks off a 65-yard touchdown untouched somehow.
So you're taking the Niners mostly for value purposes?
Yeah, my numbers show San Francisco's the value here. It's going to be an interesting game. maybe I just have a blind spot with the matchups and really how decimated San Francisco is, but I'll take my shot. San Francisco held Seattle to nothing last week. Let's not forget that. Seattle's not a pushover. So
that was very impressive.
So maybe that's a sign of maybe that's a good sign that they put something together. But they can't let Barkley make those big plays.
Yeah, exactly. And I go back to earlier in the season when the Niners came into LA and upset the Rams when they were decimated again offensively. And like their key guys were out, and they still figured out a way. They gave the ball to McCaffrey like 150 times that game, every time he touched the ball. And I was in the locker room afterwards talking to Kyle Juszczyk, who's become a really good, just a great interview, super guy, a Harvard guy. And when it was all over, McCaffrey came walking over, and I just happened to say, "Hey, are you doing okay? As many times as you touched the ball today?" And Juszczyk just started laughing. He goes, "That guy's a specimen like you've never seen in your life. He's from another world.
He is.
Nobody can recover like him." And and look at the year he's having. We talked over the last few years. He's going to get hurt again. He has to. He touches the ball too much. He's the one who's lasted out the year well, right?
Yeah, it's amazing how Stafford and McCaffrey stayed essentially injury free the entire season. So
yeah.
I like the experience San Francisco has. They don't have a coaching problem.
Yeah.
As long as they're not losing by more than 7 at the half, they got a chance.
Yeah. And the Chargers at the Patriots. This is another very fascinating game to me. You got the Patriots as the home favorites. They should be. The Chargers are really hungry. And they rested a lot of guys last week too, trying to get as healthy as possible. Their O-line is just, you and I could probably help if we both jumped in there for a couple of plays. It's not good, but they're with Harbaugh, I think they're going to make this a very interesting game. And the Patriots, it's the story of the season, the easiest schedule in maybe the history of the league. Now they got to show what they're truly about.
Well, there's 32 teams.
Yes.
And it's pretty hard to have so much of a schedule like, top loaded or bottom loaded versus, talent, so to speak. Talent's kind of spread out.
Right.
We looked at this yesterday and we looked through the Patriots schedule, and they played one team the entire season with a top 10 defense.
Yeah, exactly.
One team. And that was Buffalo there, and that was like bottom 10. And it's unbelievable. So the weather's going to be an issue here. You've got 100% chance of rain.
Yeah.
The winds are up there at 15 miles an hour. Hampton is probably going to play. He's not going to be 100%.
Right.
So I think that puts a little bit more. I think it makes things a little bit more difficult for the Chargers.
Yeah, and also Herbert is right out of the old Fugitive show. He's the one-armed man right now. So,
but he's been very impressive. We've got another situation with the first-time playoff quarterback facing an experienced playoff.
Absolutely, no doubt.
So that works against New England, but I wouldn't want to necessarily lay the 3.5, but I've been using him in teasers plus 3.5.
Are you not interested in the Chargers to get them into double digits?
Oh yeah, I got both sides on this game.
We got a big fat middle waiting for Chris in this game.
Yeah. So
all right, good.
I'm leaning toward it being a close game either way.
Are you interested in any of the totals at all in these games?
Yeah, I took there's a lot of talk about it this year, so that kind of makes me nervous. But in the wild card round, 64-25, 72% to the under.
Wow.
And that's for totals 41 or higher.
Okay.
That's just in general. For totals 41 and higher, it's 75%, 42 and 14.
Okay, and most of them are over 41.
Yeah. So that's a huge trend.
Are you going just with the trend, or
no,
do you have a couple of games at all?
Because I'm not a huge fan of the Rams under.
Okay, makes sense.
But I already did this Green Bay under. I'll probably do the Buffalo under. And that's it. The Houston-Pittsburgh, people like that under. I probably like that under also, but I'm not going to play it. It's down to 38.5.
Yeah, this says 39.5. So that's dropping then, huh?
Yeah, it dropped.
How's the weather supposed to be on Monday night in Pittsburgh?
The weather on Monday night in Pittsburgh, I just had it.
I actually think the last I saw, it's not going to be too bad, right?
No, it's going to be fine. 36 degrees. 10-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, no snow.
0% chance of precipitation. So
okay, good. I mean, I enjoy the crazy weather playoff games, but on a Monday night game, I mean, keep it realistic. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's. I mean, Pittsburgh's. They work miracles. Whenever they're supposed to win, they don't. Whenever they're not supposed to win, they do. And the only thing we all know that they're 21-3 on Monday night.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but when's the last time they were ever a home dog in the playoffs?
I don't know. I don't have that, but
that would be an interesting thing to look at.
I had a home. I thought I wrote this down.
Okay, just curious because that's. I mean, it just looks funny just to see it. Anyway, I don't expect you to find it now, but the bottom line, it's an unusual circumstance, and they're going up against the best defense in the league. Right now, the Texans are just playing incredible ball on the D, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have to figure a way out of because he doesn't throw the deep ball much anymore, and usually doesn't have opportunities to do so, but he does get Metcalf back. And that changes
Metcalf, which is going to spread out the defense.
Yep. Good timing for that. As long as he doesn't try to punch any fans during the game, I think we should be okay.
And Rodgers has one of the fastest release times, and that's what's going to work against Houston a little bit. But Houston's certainly been the much better team. This is another line that's way off as far as I'm concerned.
I was going to ask you, how did you make it?
It's not even close. So, but Pittsburgh's been doing it with smoke and mirrors all year long. They don't somehow. They've been very, very lucky, and it's you can't quantify that. But looking at it metrically, these teams are not close. But and I kind of noticed that Houston's kind of sputtered a little bit. They're not getting into the end zone. We looked at it up yesterday, and surprisingly, Stroud's been getting 350 yards, but they're not getting any separation.
Right.
So they're kicking field goals.
No, you can't trust their offense at all. I mean, it's just, do they get enough to take care of whatever their defense is set up in this game?
Exactly. So I think Rodgers can dink and dunk them, and then throw the long ball every now and then to keep them, spread them out, and they might hit a pay dirt with that. But I'm looking for a close game on here. I got this one, bet both ways, but I'm a Houston backer in it.
Straight up though, are you also laying 3?
No, I don't
Just
have to,
season.
but I would. I think this line's going to come down to 2.5, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, how weird is this though? This playoff odds that I have put up here, that the Steelers open up at home and they have the least chance to do anything as far as advancing to win the AFC.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
Well, this whole season has been weird. We say that every year, but this season seems even weirder.
Yeah. All right. So bottom line is it really should be a fun weekend. We got some interesting matchups and just setting it up for the two teams that have the byes, with Denver sitting back. I don't trust them at all. I don't know what to expect, what's going to happen with them when Bo Nix needs to come through in the clutch. Although I'll tell you what, Very few quarterbacks have done as well down the stretch of games as Bo Nix has done when they needed to win. You know, he's looked awful. He's one of these. He's like, don't bet on him in the second half, right?
I bet on him. I bet on Denver a lot this year. And,
in game?
Several times I tuned in and watched, and they looked awful.
Exactly.
Later on in the game, they looked like world beaters. It's really strange. Dr. Jekyll,
Totally
Mr.
weird.
Hyde offense.
Yeah. And wanted to look at these odds one more time on the NFC side to make it to the title game and also to the Super Bowl. How do you see these numbers? Do they match in your brain pretty much overall? We got Seahawks and Rams like we talked about before. And then after that, it is a weird drop-off.
Yeah, I don't think it's likely that I could see. I think San Francisco's the only other team out of those top three that has a chance. But their defense is just so bad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's because of injuries too, though. Of course, he had two best players out for the year. You're screwed right there. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, if they would just make these seasons longer, then it would make it even more interesting.
Yeah, maybe we can't wait for 18 games. I'm sure that'll help the overall health of everybody. All right. Well, anyway, bottom line is it should be a fantastic week. I'm glad you're able to join us today, Guy, and with all the craziness you got going on at home.
Yeah, I'm listening to the heavy machinery right outside my window here.
All right, what's going on over at your place?
Well, they're moving boulders and doing all kinds of stuff. I'm redoing my front yard. It's been a project. We'll just put it that way.
No, I got you. Anyway, I know you're a big Doors fan, so let's talk about Robbie Krieger for a minute. I'm promoting his book. He's promoting mine right there. Nice. Great guy. Let me show you something that you might enjoy here. Let me remove this picture for a second. See this? This is a poster of the 60th anniversary from an old concert they did, the Isle of Wight, a million years ago, and Robbie signed it at the top. I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah, I like that Jim Morrison signature too. That's a tough one.
Yeah, right.
You're muted. You're muted. I think there's no sound.